Ethan stepped into the bedroom and came to a halt. His wife lay there asleep, her head resting on the chest of another man. The air was still thick with betrayal. Quietly, he reached into the nightstand and disabled the safety on his pistol. Without a word, he delivered a sharp kick to the bed. The man jerked awake, fear flashing in his eyes, but before he could react, Ethan's fist crashed into his jaw, dropping him instantly. Clara screamed, clutching the sheets around her. "It's not what you think," she cried. But Ethan's expression was unreadable, his voice low and cold, his fury tightly controlled. "You got 5 minutes to get out of this house. If you don't, neither of you is leaving." Rain tapped softly against the cobblestones outside as Ethan had pulled into his driveway earlier that evening. His sleek black car came to a quiet stop before the townhouse in Zurich, once a home filled with joy, now only a reminder of everything that had gone wrong. He straightened his tie, the stress of the day still hanging on his shoulders, though it paled in comparison to the gnawing feeling in his gut. Something felt off. When he entered, silence greeted him. No music, no smile from Clara, only the lingering scent of vanilla candles. He called her name. Nothing. As he climbed the stairs, each step grew heavier, dread blooming inside him, and then he saw them. Shock morphed into rage, grief, and disbelief, all crashing over him at once. He had trusted her. Every moment they had shared suddenly felt like a lie. But Ethan wasn't the type to act on impulse. Even as his heart shattered, he kept his composure. He retrieved his gun and prepared for a confrontation. After forcing the man out and rejecting Clara's desperate pleas, he told her to leave. "You made your choice," he said, not looking back as she gathered her things. The days that followed were a blur of sleepless nights and burning questions. But Ethan wasn't just a heartbroken husband. He was a strategist, a master of patience and planning. He redirected his pain into a cold, calculated mission, retribution. He began with a man, Lucas Reinhardt, a low-level salesman with more ambition than talent, and a trail of indiscretions behind him. Ethan hired a private investigator and quickly unearthed a trove of dirt, debts, underhanded deals, and another mistress. Then came Clara. Despite her betrayal, Ethan knew her well. She had always been drawn to dramatic apologies and nostalgic gestures. Slowly, he began to reel her back in thoughtful notes, unexpected flowers, and promises of redemption. The mask of forgiveness suited him well. Eventually, she caved. During an intimate dinner, Ethan presented her with a box. Inside, the diamond necklace she once adored. Her eyes welled with tears. "You really mean this?" she asked. Ethan offered a warm smile. "We deserve another chance." But what Clara didn't know was that Ethan's revenge was unfolding with every passing moment. Every kind word and thoughtful gesture was another step in a meticulously designed downfall. He said nothing of what came next, no warnings, no clues, just a promise of a storm neither she nor Lucas would see coming until it was far too late. Ethan had been quietly laying the groundwork for months. Lucas's business was crumbling piece by piece, and Clara seemed constantly on edge, unaware that the unease shadowing her came from Ethan's deliberate actions. He had tipped off a private investigator, who in turn notified Lucas's creditors and employer about his shady dealings. Every move Ethan made was deliberate, but not without risk. His hand shook the first time he sent an anonymous tip, aware that a single mistake could unmask him. The investigator cautioned him. Lucas wasn't just a fraud. He had ties to dangerous people. But Ethan pressed on. Late one night, while reviewing a stack of evidence, his phone lit up with a chilling message. "You should stop while you're ahead." Fear crept in, but only for a moment. Ethan was committed, and within weeks, Lucas lost everything, his job, his finances, and his standing. Ethan used the chaos to set the stage for something grand. He organized an elegant gathering under the pretense of celebrating a fresh start with Clara. The venue was opulent. Guests were dressed to impress, and Clara's excitement was genuine. She believed their relationship had turned a corner. As the evening reached its peak, Ethan took the microphone. His hands were damp and his pulse raced as he looked out over the sea of familiar faces. Clara sat up front, her smile glowing with hope. The atmosphere buzzed with expectancy. Then silence. Ethan's voice cut through the quiet. He thanked everyone for coming and hinted that the evening wasn't just about celebration, but about truth. A screen behind him flickered to life, displaying damning photos of Clara and Lucas in private moments. Gasps echoed through the room as murmurs rippled outward. Clara's face drained of color. Ethan stood firm, his voice steady. He thanked her for the lessons in betrayal and turned to the guests once more, closing the night with a simple farewell. He walked off stage as Clara sat frozen, her reputation unraveling before her. In the weeks that followed, Ethan filed for divorce. He liquidated their shared home, donating Clara's treasured designer wardrobe to charity. The profits helped launch a mentorship program for up-and-coming entrepreneurs, something Ethan had long dreamed of doing. Clara tried reaching out, her messages ignored, her calls blocked. Desperate, she appeared uninvited at his workplace, sobbing and clutching a handwritten letter. When he refused to see her, she tried a new tactic, spreading rumors among their friends, suggesting he had been the one to cheat. But the damage had been done, and no one bought into her story. Lucas, meanwhile, faded into the background, disgraced and forgotten. But Ethan wasn't finished. Knowing how much Clara treasured her rare art collection, he used the divorce proceedings to have the pieces seized and auctioned, funneling the funds directly into his program. Clara lost her job shortly after, thanks to anonymous tips Ethan sent to her employer. An internal probe confirmed suspicions about her behavior, and the fallout was swift. With every attempt to regain control, Clara only sank deeper. Her once flawless image now lay in ruins. Alone and without allies, she was a shell of who she'd once been. Ethan, on the other hand, rebuilt from the ground up. He poured himself into his work, into helping others, and into becoming the person he wanted to be. Standing on the balcony of his new high-rise apartment, city lights sprawling before him, he finally felt something he hadn't in a long time: peace. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming power, finding closure, and rising from devastation. Sometimes the deepest wounds teach us the most about resilience. And in the end, Ethan learned that freedom doesn't come from hurting others. It comes from letting go,